What would it be like to live in a town with no shopping mall, no movie theater, and only one traffic light? In some remote corners of New York State, especially in the quiet upstate region, that's not just a possibility, it's a reality. In fact, there are small towns where the sound of nature is heard more often than the sound of cars. These towns rarely make it onto travel destination lists, and sometimes maps only show their names without directions on how to get there. But it's in places like these where you'll find hidden stories of history, resilience, and a way of life that's nearly forgotten. Let's start this journey in the heart of a valley where history and silence quietly meet. Nestled among the hills of the Mohawk Valley, Little Falls is a small town that once thrived because of the Erie Canal and the railroads. Back in its heyday, it was an important hub for trade and goods. But when the canal lost its relevance and the trains stopped running, Little Falls slipped into isolation. Today, fewer than 5,000 people call Little Falls home. The streets are calm, old shops still stand with their classic brick facades, and the Mohawk River continues to flow through the center. The town may be small and quiet, but its historical charm makes it captivating. Not far from Little Falls, we arrive in a town called Herkimer. This place is known for its natural treasures, especially the unique quartz crystals called Herkimer diamonds. As you explore deeper, you'll come across many gift shops selling these local stones. But beyond that, life in Herkimer moves slowly and simply. With a population that's barely changed and young people leaving for bigger cities, Herkimer is one of many small towns trying to hold on. Its charm lies in its tight-knit community, its modest local markets, and the strong cultural presence seen in old colonial-era buildings that still stand tall. A bit further down the road, the next town we visit is Ilion. For those unfamiliar, this is a town whose name was once closely tied to the firearms industry. Remington Arms, one of the oldest gun and ammunition manufacturers in America, was based here. But when the company went bankrupt and closed in 2020, the town seemed to lose its heartbeat. Now, Ilion feels quiet and somewhat somber. Many industrial buildings have been left empty, and jobs are getting harder to find. Even so, Ilion still holds a strong industrial legacy, something that can't easily be erased from the community's collective memory. From a town once driven by industry, we move to one that offers a very different experience. This is Palmyra, a small town in the Finger Lakes region, sitting along the historic Erie Canal. Palmyra holds a special place in America's religious history. This is where the Mormon movement first began, making the town sacred to many. Interestingly, both the town and its village are named after the ancient city of Palmyra in what is now Syria. But beyond its religious side, Palmyra is just a simple farming town with a humble downtown. Old buildings, historic churches, and the canal that cuts through it all stand as reminders of the past. It's a quiet place, but every corner of it feels filled with heart. A few miles from Palmyra, there's another town on our list, Newark. Not the one in New Jersey, but a quieter, more remote version southeast of Rochester and west of Syracuse, New York. This town, more like a village really, used to be lively thanks to waterways and shipping stations. But most of its economic activity has now moved elsewhere. Many downtown buildings are either empty or for sale, but the people who remain work hard to keep the community going. Newark is a perfect example of how small towns fight to preserve their identity in the face of constant change. From Newark, still holding on, we move on to another small town called Clyde. Also crossed by the Erie Canal, This town has a main street that feels frozen in time, with red brick buildings, small repair shops, and a local coffee spot that serves as the town's only real hangout. This town was once part of a major railroad line, though now the tracks are nearly abandoned. Clyde offers peace and quiet, a classic Midwest-like landscape, and a glimpse of life that moves far from the noise of modern life. Among its most popular spots are the terror-filled haunted attraction, the Galen Historical Society, and Clyde Village Park. Heading further north, the next town that's hard to skip is Ticonderoga. Located between Lake George and Lake Champlain, this town was once the site of a key fort during the American Revolutionary War. Because of that, Ticonderoga is better known for its history and tourism, though mostly in the summer. Outside of that season, it's a very quiet place. With a population of around 3,000, getting here isn't easy. It involves narrow roads winding through mountains. Even so, the charm of Ticonderoga lives on in every curve of its streets and in the ruins of its old fort. Even farther north, close to the Canadian border, stands a tiny fishing town called Waddington. Unlike the towns before, this one is a charming community with stunning views of the St. Lawrence River. As a go-to spot for outdoor activities, it's tightly connected to things like fishing and enjoying the evening sunset. On top of that, its rich history, beautiful buildings, and vibrant culture make Waddington a place worth visiting. The town is so small that you could drive through without realizing it. But for the more than 2,000 people who live here, Waddington is home, a peaceful, slow-paced life that feels like a rare luxury these days. Not far from Waddington lies the town of Madrid. A stark contrast to the one in Spain, this Madrid is tucked deep in rural New York. It's truly remote, surrounded by wide farmland and small patches of forest. With fewer than 1,000 residents, the town has almost no economic center or tourist attractions. It's the pure definition of rural American life: quiet, honest, and simple. It may not be a destination like other small towns, but for those who live here, Madrid is still home, a place for those who choose a modest way of life. Next, we have a town that's quite unique and probably unfamiliar to most people. Aside from its unusual shape on the map, its name also stands out: Friendship. But in reality, this small town is far from busy. Founded back in 1815 and located in Allegheny County, this area is one of the least touched by modern development. With a population under 1,000, the town has just one main road, only a handful of stores, and a school that's not as full as it once was. But again, this isn't a weakness, not for this town. Just like its name, Friendship holds tightly to its close-knit community spirit. Moving back toward the northeast, there's a town called Altmar. This small town sits along the Salmon River, well known among fishing enthusiasts, and is surrounded by dense forests, giving it a distinct atmosphere, a perfect place to escape the routines of modern life. Altmar is a seasonal town. It gets crowded during fishing season, then quiet again in the months that follow. The local community is known for being tight-knit and friendly to visitors, offering both cultural charm and natural abundance. Besides fishing, other outdoor activities like hiking, camping, kayaking, and exploring local galleries and museums can also be enjoyed. Altmar, quite literally, is better described as a village waiting for guests, with its classic rural landscape and a pace of life that moves slowly. Next, we arrive in Remsen, a town with strong Welsh cultural and historical roots. Nestled at the base of the Adirondack Mountains, it offers stunning natural scenery. But those beautiful surroundings quickly turn challenging once the long, harsh winter arrives. Located in Oneida County and founded in 1798, Remsen provides a quiet atmosphere, ideal for those looking for a peaceful, family-friendly environment. One reason it's considered family-friendly is its excellent local school, Remsen Central School. That's why many out-of-towners own second or even third homes here. Despite its limited amenities, this town of only around 400 residents holds an annual Welsh cultural festival that always draws a crowd. But outside of that, Remsen stays calm, like a little island of culture surrounded by green fields or white snow. Still within the Adirondack area, we now head into the heart of its forests, to a town called Speculator. Like Altmar and Remsen, this small town is also a seasonal tourist destination. In the summer, visitors come with high expectations. But when the snow starts falling, the town becomes like a hibernating animal. Its permanent population is just over 400, and during winter, the streets can be completely quiet. Still, the beauty of its lakes and mountains makes Speculator a hidden gem for those who know when and where to go. Heading south toward the Finger Lakes, we reach Trumansburg. Even though it's close to a college town like Ithaca, this town has managed to keep its small town soul alive. Unlike towns that rely on seasonal crowds, Trumansburg offers a warm, small town charm combined with access to stunning natural attractions. It has a lively downtown with cultural highlights like music events and the annual Grassroots Dance Festival. In many ways, Trumansburg is a perfect example of a small town that, while geographically remote, has never lost its creative pulse. We now arrive at the end of our journey through New York's remote corners. As a closing note, we come to Lisbon, a town in northern St. Lawrence County that sees little traffic and has limited access. This town appears to have changed very little over the decades. It offers a blend of suburban and rural life, with a residential feel dominating its character. With over 4,000 residents, many of whom lean conservative, Lisbon still stands with old buildings and a few local bars. Interestingly, it's also home to a number of young professionals. Its commitment to a traditional way of life, combined with the friendliness of its people and the wide-open pastoral views, gives this town a unique appeal that sets it apart from other small towns in remote New York. In the end, not every town needs to be bustling to be meaningful. These small and remote towns may be far from economic centers and modern tech, but they hold honest lives, rich histories, and a remarkable spirit of endurance. And maybe in a world that's getting faster and noisier, these quiet places are the ones that truly show us what peace really means.